Hello, everyone. Today I am going to share with you a story which I did not know was even possible. Ryan Clark, the Chomo out of Louisiana, 34 years old. Well, a judge gave him a 35-year sentence. 30 years of it has to be served before he can even be eligible for parole. And here's what's on top of it. He is mandated to have chemical castration upon his release. This is the first time really that I've heard of this as being a thing. So I started to Google it and look it up. I wanted to know, is this even a thing in the US? And apparently it is. And I think you might be surprised. But there are 9 states in the US that have laws that allow for chemical castration for certain sex offenders. These are the states: California, Florida, Georgia, Iowa, Louisiana, Montana, Oregon, Texas, and Wisconsin. So those states allow it. And I couldn't find any data on how often they happen or when it's happened. It's not an easy data to find. If you find it, let me know. But this bill was signed in 2008 in Louisiana by the governor at the time. Now, from what I've read, typically it's something that a judge or a prosecutor will offer a chomo in exchange for shortening their sentence. So they'll say, okay, you can get out early if you do the chemical castration. But in this case, the judge said, no, it's a 35-year sentence is what I'm giving you. 30 years has to be served before you're eligible for parole. And within 1 week of you getting released, you have to undergo this treatment. The process involves injections of, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Well, should I try? No, I'm not going to do it. And it basically suppresses a man's sex drive by depleting his testosterone levels. The injections must be administered at least 1 week before a convicted sex offender is released from prison. So I'm just bringing this up because we have covered, as you know, the state of Louisiana parole hearings, and we have seen every type of chomo that grandfathers with their grandkids, dads with their 3-year-old children, and them getting 5-year sentences, 7-year sentences. And my mind is just blown by it. Our minds, we don't understand. How is it possible that someone who destroys their own child's life, a convicted chomo of their own 3-year-old child, can literally get a 7-year sentence? And here we see this hero, Judge Brian. Let me show you what this hero looks like right here. Didn't know who he was until now, but this man understands what's going on. He gave the max sentence. Hey, maybe send him over an email and and just say, hey, shout out, we're watching, we appreciate it. And he just threw, and if more judges and DAs recommended higher sentences and stopped doing these plea deals, we would just be in a much safer country, in a much safer place. So there was an investigation into Clark that began July 2020 after the sheriff office was tipped off about inappropriate behavior between Clark and a minor. By the way, was under, I think, 13 years old. Clark was arrested on July 17, 2020 and charged with, right here, he was previously convicted in 2015 of a misdemeanor, carnal knowledge of a juvenile, receiving oral in a public place from a minor. He served just 128 days in jail. Do you hear that? Do I need to repeat that? How is that a misdemeanor? How is that a misdemeanor? He served just 128 days in jail. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I just referenced. The type of sentences that these chomos are receiving. There's in a different report I was reading, it was much more extensive. They're saying that, could be that he even that there was a second case that they were investigating, and they may not pursue it because of this sentence. And I think because it was a plea deal that he took. But the judge didn't care. He said, you might have done a plea deal, but he gave him the max and then some. I wish I could have seen his face when that order came down. And what it does is it gets me, maybe it gets you too, just more riled up when it's like, if the judge really has in their playbook the ability to do something like that, why is it not happening? Why are they not pulling it out of their playbook? I know chemical castration is a controversial subject. It has, it goes back all the way to, well, it has a long history, but certain regimes might come to mind when that word pops up. But I just, it just seems like something that if you're going to let out someone that has a mental disease where they like children, where they just can't help it because it's a disease, it should be mandated, in my opinion. Anyways, I'm happy to share this with you. Maybe this can become a trend. Maybe it can pick up. All the major newspapers and newsreels picked it up. And thank you, Jesse, for sharing this with me. But with that, I'll let you go.